we need to do our first endorsement for the evening. And everyone on the town committee is eligible to vote because the Registrar of Voters is a citywide office. And as you know, we have Democratic, we have Republican Registrar of Voters, and obviously we're focusing on the Republican Registrar of Voters. So let's move forward into that. Is there anyone here who wishes to make a nomination for Republican Registrar of Voters? Rick.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. Just before we start with that, I'd like to take a moment. Our past Registrar of Voters, Karen Lyons, her daughter is very, very ill at the moment, very ill. She's in Yale. She's had a couple strokes, so please keep her in your prayers. It's pretty serious, but if we all pray together, hopefully we can get it turned around. So with that, I ask that you just take a moment. Thank you. With that, I'd be honored tonight to put into the name of Brian Smith, our current Registrar of Voters, Republican. I've known Brian for close to 40 years. He's actually been the campaign treasurer of every single campaign I ever ran. I know he's also been campaign treasurer of many people in this room. He's been party treasurer at times. He's held different positions with the party. He's done a great job in the registrar's office. They've had a tough couple of years in the registrar's office with previous registrar resigning. Another sad issue that took place in the office that Brian was new on the job and had to handle a lot of tragedy and a lot of input from others on what should be done and how it was done. He held it with high regards, total compassion to his staff who had worked with these employees over the years, a true professional. And like I said, he was new to that position. He also has updated along with the other Democrat Registrar of Voters, who, by the way, in the state of Connecticut, you very rarely hear of the Registrar of Voters from the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, or even with the town clerk. They just don't get along. They're always having investigations with different ones from the state and everything, and they're always going to different towns. They don't come here. I don't know if we get along too well or we don't get along well at all. I really don't know what it is. But I will tell you, Brian is the person for this job. He was the deputy before. He learned. He's learning every day. He's bringing new initiatives every day. And with everything looking like it's going to be on the horizon, changing from the Secretary of the State's office, Brian's right there with input and ideas, and not always saying, hey, no, that's a great idea. He's right there to support the people in the Republican Party. So it gives me great honor to put in the nomination the name of Brian Smith this evening.
Thank you, Rick. Is there a second?
I second.
Well,
I would just like to second without a speech.
does somebody want to give a speech?
No, Rick said it all.
Okay, so I'll put Brian, I guess. I saw your hand go first. Is that all right? A second. Okay. Brian Meek.
Brian.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a nomination and a second. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Well, there are no other nominations, so I will close this part and move that we cast one ballot for Brian Smith. So all those in favor of Brian Smith as registrar, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The vote is unanimous. Brian Smith is our endorsed Registrar of Voters. Brian, come on up. Come on. a long walk.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Congratulations, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick. Thank you. And hopefully, when I take office in January, we get elected in November, but we don't take office until January. Those next 2 years will be drama-free after the last 2 years I had with the previous, like Rick said, with the previous registrar, and this year in January. So thank you very much, and I hope to be working for you. You know where I'll be for the next 2 years. Thank you.